If you work in the tech world, especially around Azure, you know that certifications are a moving target. And it seems Microsoft just launched a major curveball with the 2026 update for its big DevOps engineer exam, the AZ-400. We've heard a lot of people asking how to adjust their whole study plan. So today, we're going to break down exactly what's changed.
It's a significant overhaul, for sure. This isn't just a minor refresh. They've fundamentally changed what it means to be a certified Azure DevOps expert.
Let's start with what feels like the biggest structural shift. Microsoft has officially gone all in on cloud-native technologies, specifically Azure Kubernetes Service. The new curriculum moves way beyond basic containerization to include advanced topics like Istio service meshes, Dapr runtimes, and sophisticated auto-scaling. It feels like they've really raised the bar for what a DevOps engineer needs to know about orchestration.
Exactly, and the impact here is massive. It means the old way of just managing virtual machines is effectively dead for this exam. If you aren't comfortable with high-level Kubernetes traffic management and how these distributed applications talk to each other, you're going to hit a wall very, very quickly.
Right? So it's not just do you know what a container is anymore.
Not at all. And here's the real aha moment. Microsoft isn't just adding keywords for the sake of it. They are aligning the exam with how modern enterprises actually build software now. By including things like Dapr and Service Mesh, they're formally acknowledging that today's microservice architectures are far too complex to manage with simple scripts. You need a more sophisticated control plane.
So it's less about how to click the right buttons in the Azure portal and more about how to actually architect for scale and resilience.
Precisely. In 2026, Azure DevOps isn't just about moving code. It's about orchestrating a living, breathing container ecosystem that scales itself while you sleep. The job title is shifting from operator to architect.
That makes sense. But as these environments get more complex, the surface area for attacks grows, which leads us perfectly into the next major change, the deep integration of security.
Got it.
So, moving on to security. The 2026 update seems to replace these traditional, siloed security concepts with a shift-left DevSecOps model. Candidates are now tested on deep integrations with tools like GitHub Advanced Security and Microsoft Defender for Cloud, focusing on things like OpenID Connect and Workload Identity Federation to eliminate the need for hard-coded secrets and pipelines.
This is a game changer because it forces engineers to adopt what's called compliance as code. You're now expected to use tools like Azure Policy and Open Policy Agent to automatically block non-compliant deployments before they even have a chance to reach production. The 2026 exam essentially replaces the old security gate with a security bloodstream. If your pipeline doesn't have automated compliance checks built in, it simply won't pass the test.
It's basically making security invisible, but mandatory. And speaking of making things mandatory, the way we actually define and build this infrastructure has also seen a major toolchain overhaul.
A very welcome one, I'd say.
On the infrastructure side, the 2026 update officially prioritizes Bicep over the old, clunky ARM templates and doubles down on Terraform, especially for state management. But more interestingly, it introduces concepts like progressive exposure and feature flags as core requirements for managing how and when users see new updates.
I love this change. It reflects the reality that most modern failures don't happen in testing, they happen during deployment. By testing you on A/B testing, feature flags, and even database schema synchronization, Microsoft is saying that a DevOps engineer's job doesn't end when the code is live, it ends when the user is successfully and safely using it. You're not just deploying code, you're releasing experiences.
It's all about reducing the blast radius of a failure, but to know if you're failing in the first place, you need world-class visibility. Which brings us to our final pillar, monitoring and the SRE mindset.
That's right, the final piece.
So, finally, the 2026 exam leans heavily into the SRE, or Site Reliability Engineering mindset. It looks like you'll need to be proficient in Kusto Query Language, or KQL, for deep log analysis, and open telemetry for distributed tracing, while also managing business-centric metrics like error budgets and service-level objectives, or SLOs.
This is probably the most mature part of the update. It moves the conversation from is the server up to is the user's experience meeting our specific promised business goals. Monitoring tells you something is broken. Observability and SRE tell you why it's broken and exactly how much failure your business can actually afford before it impacts the customer. It's a much more strategic way of looking at operations.
It's the final piece of the puzzle for a modern Azure DevOps expert. So, David, for those looking to tackle this 180-minute marathon, what's the bottom line for their 2026 roadmap? What are the key takeaways?
Okay, if I had to boil it down, it's four main things. First, Kubernetes mastery is non-negotiable. You have to live and breathe AKS, service meshes like Istio, and runtimes like Dapper. Second, think secretless security. You must know how to secure pipelines with workload identity federation and OIDC, not passwords. Third, Bicep is the new standard for infrastructure, and you need to master deployment strategies like progressive exposure and feature flags. And finally, you have to adopt the SRE framework. You are no longer just an admin. You're managing error budgets and SLOs with tools like KQL and OpenTelemetry. And as a quick logistical check, the exam is still $165, requires the AZ-104 or AZ-204 as a prerequisite, and you need a 700 out of 1,000 to pass.